ancient cathedrals, and there's not a pew to be had on this Sunday afternoon. The old wooden stands here are being gradually replaced by soaring steel ones in recent years, but they'll still vibrate with noise. There's enough timber left in this 100-year-old main stand to remind you of what the place used to be like. Playing at Welford Road, part of what attracted so many of these Leicester players in the first place, and Richard Cockrell can call upon the services of an old stager again this afternoon. Tom Croft back to play in the Aviva Premiership for the first time this season after injury. His 100th start in the league. With Dan Cole away, Greg Bateman is tight head. John O'Kitto filling a Ben Young-size hole at scrum half. Still no Manu, so Owen Williams gets to be an extra pair of eyes and hands and feet outside Freddie Burns. Tom Brady continues to say hello to the locals on one wing, while Adam Thompson gets to go on the other, the one-time London Irishman, about to clock up a century of games as a Leicester Tiger. John Kingston and the Quins entering the second third of the season, a time of year when they have to operate without the Robshaws, the Kerrs, the Browns, the Marlers, the Sinklers, the Roberts. But they do have Marlon Yard, not needed by England this week, the right wing for his club here. He won't be far away from Quins fullback, and it's a very special moment for young Aaron Morris. Premiership debut for the 21-year-old in the absence of Mike Brown. Up front, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Lambert, who've taken delivery of their first child this weekend, a baby boy. That explains Mark's late withdrawal. Dan Murphy slots in at loose head. And no Dave Ward in the middle of the front row, because he's needed in his old position at number 7, moonlighting in the back row. Teams who provided half a dozen to England's course, both shorn of their big names, or bigger names. The Harlequins team starting to find themselves again in recent weeks. They've won 5 of the last 6. A bounce in their step after a frustrating start to the season. The only defeat, an incredible 36-35 loss at Murrayfield in the Challenge Cup. Without Danny Kerr today, somebody who knows all about leading a side out. Former Wallaby captain James Horwell, who was playing for Australia as recently as June against England. He leads his team out, knowing that the winners here today will enjoy Sunday evening in the Aviva Premiership's top 4. One of the more significant aspects of Leicester's win last weekend here in the Anglo-Welsh Cup against the Newport Red Dragons was the fact that they did it without conceding a try. First time in 32 games since Munster here just over a year ago. So that's the first target for them. Both sides buoyed by the perfect start to the Anglo-Welsh. Time to transfer that to the league. With reference to Joe Gray's late withdrawal from the list of replacements, tight head Matt Shields has come, and it means that Dave Ward will be back at hooker if needs be. The referee is Craig Maxwell Keys. His first Premiership game here at Welford Road. We can expect lots of helpful hints and tips from the locals on the crumbly terrace in front of us, Austin.
Yeah, he certainly can. A big old crowd for a Sunday afternoon game against Quins. Not got an amazing record here, but have had some recent success, so I think it's almost going to be a battle of Leicester's pack versus the Quins backline.
Freddie Burns. And away we go. His job for Marlon Yard is to gather under some pressure from Peter Beetham. He had surplus to England requirements yesterday. Elliot Daly on the wing against Fiji. And he did a very good job. James Chisholm. Who's that? Quins 8 here today. And here's the 7, Dave Ward. Inside flank, the position that he started his career in all those years ago. He's a willing extra ball carrier from the back row today. And neatly taken by Matthew Tate, brilliantly taken by the fullback. Ran onto it perfectly.
What is it? Tigers 11's changed his line and blocked. So Harlequins, yeah. Changed his line and blocked.
That's Nigel Carrick, assistant referee on the far side, kicking out to some obstruction from Tom Brady.
Yeah, it was a decent enough box kick, but just spotted the obstruction. He just changed his line, didn't he, Tom Brady, and just stopped the chase, effective chase. It was a wonderful take by Matthew Tate, and he looked for all money like he was in down on that short side, but assistant referee just spotted the block.
I think it's a particularly harsh penalty to open up the game. Brady turns, he runs a line, tracks back. He's not looking now, he's just holding his ground and stepping out of the way of Matthew Tate. I think that's, you see that a lot of the time. Is that a penalty? I'm not so sure.
First throw for Rob Buchanan. Picks out Charlie Matthews. Premiership campaign only really just getting going for him. He missed the first 2 months of the season with injury. That's just his second game. Harlequins 4 today. And he's back in there, putting his shoulder to the wheel and picking up the ball and smuggling it back to Luke Wallace. Harlequins scrum half today, Carl Dixon. Both clubs, his first choice scrum halves, were with England yesterday. And at the end of all that wrestling above the pitch, it will be a Leicester put in at the scrum.
Yeah, it's frustrating there from a Harlequins perspective. They've done all the hard work, but unfortunately just got turned over. Gives us our first scrum, but it'll be a Leicester put in. It's going to be a fascinating scrum battle, Nick. Obviously a Harlequin side coached by Graham Rowntree up against the Leicester side coached by Richard Cockrell. Pretty even Stevens in the scrums up to now.
Quins 3 slipped, went round.
Graham Rowntree back at the place where he made his name.
Tigers.
The all-conquering front row of Rowntree, Cockrell and Darren Garforth, the ABC club, of course, reflecting back to the days when Tigers had letters on the back of their shirts rather than numbers. And the ABC bar below is doing a roaring trade before and after the match on every match day. Forever immortalised above a bar, which will please the three of them.
Yeah, they had to change it to letters because none of them could count.
All in capitals though, Austin, so you could understand. That was an old-fashioned Leicester scrum from the days when the ABC boys were doing their stuff.
Yeah, well, it'll be Richard Cockrell that's the more pleased after that first scrummage.
If you've gone forward first, fair enough. I had no go forward.
Dan Murphy in the Harlequins front row just penalised for going across. Let's just have another look at this. Got good angle there against Greg Bateman.
Buchanan doing what he can to slow things up. They've got themselves in a decent defensive position there, but Lockie McCaffrey comes away with it for Leicester. Holding onto the ball on the floor.
Yeah, it's just the danger, isn't it? When you break out from a driving ball, you've got to make sure you don't go on your own, which McCaffrey did then. If you're going to break out a little bit wider, one of the centres, the 12, has to come and clean you out. And Quins recognised that, got in over the top. The referee waited a little while before he gave the penalty. They got their second chance down in the edge of the 22 now. Let's have a look at this, just breaks on his own. And Wallace, who's just been brilliant all season at turnovers.
Leicester line, please.
Comes through. It's a real stretch for Wallace, and in the end it was too much, and it's back in the hands of Lockie McCaffrey. Oh, that was neat. How neat was that? We'll remember the game he had against Bath a couple of weeks ago in the Anglo-Welsh Cup when he really pulled the strings that night.
Yeah, really good clearance from Burns, but it all comes from a mistake, doesn't it, on the Harlequins line-out. And if you're going to get opportunities down in the Leicester 22, you've got to control your line-out ball. The Quins have been poor in that area, and it's gone from one end of the field right the way down the other. Great kick from Burns.
And again, this time defensively. And, picking out James Horwell.
I always think, Lawrence, that if you know the opposition throw 50% of their ball to Horwell, you're just going to have to mark him. You only then have to think about one guy in the line-out. You've seen Leicester do it now. First line-out, they followed him all the way down, he threw it over the top. On that occasion, they got in front of him. If you know that half the opposition's ball comes from one player, you can just try and get in front of him, can't you?
Well, I think that's the problem on days like today when they're missing Jack Clifford, when they're missing Chris Robshaw. Horwell hasn't got that out, and he often takes the responsibility on himself.
Ellis Genge on the Leicester loose head.
Clearly having feet underneath you. That elbow's giving a negative picture. Please do better than that.
Look of puzzlement, I think, is how you would describe Ellis Genge's face at the moment as he battens down with Will Collier.
Yeah, the referee there, Craig Maxwell-Keys, just giving him exactly what he wants to know from in terms of his footwear.
Set!
Jono Kitto, a chance to enjoy a start to a Premiership game in the absence of Ben Youngs. Only his second in 8 months. New Zealander. Leicester on the wrong side of the whistle in the
He's gone forward 2 inches, you folded in half.
Well, surprise, surprise, the penalty has gone against Genge on the loose head side.
Just makes me chuckle though, Nick. You win a penalty from a scrum and all the backs run in from 50 metres to pat them on the backside. What it means is you can't actually take a quick tap because you haven't got any players outside a 5 metre radius of where the ball is.
It's just called supporting your teammates.
It's not, it's called stupid rugby is what it is.
Forward first, you going down under pressure. I'll look for you.
Well, the backs hopefully will get the ball now if Quins can win their own line-out. Here's a chance.
Chisholm jumping at 2. Matthews in the middle, Horwell at the back. Horwell comes into the middle to gather it for Dixon. He was offering the dummy, it wasn't taken by any Leicester players, and there was some pressure on Evans as he hoisted the high kick.
Back off, Quins.
This is Joe Marchant, one of English rugby's rising stars. Trained with England this season, only 20. Matthews. Evans. By Aaron Morris, Premiership debut for the talented 21-year-old. Matthews once more invited to do the hard thud.
It's a rock!
Winston Stanley at inside centre. Marlon Yard going this way and that.
Roll and release.
Once again, Leicester on the floor.
All the assist, you're still the wrong side.
Penalised. 4-1. Penalty count against Leicester, latest one conceded by Owen Williams.
Yeah, just Marlon Yard had just got him behind there and was trying to play the ball quickly. The referee just wanted to make sure that the tackle assist allows him to play the ball. Let's have another look at this. So Yard takes it in, Williams gets himself in there along with Genge. Well, Bateman is it, but Williams has got to release him a bit quicker than that. That's fine by me as long as the referee maintains that consistency throughout the match.
Craig, Nigel.
More times at 12 than 10 so far this season.
On my side, there's been contact by Leicester on 2 occasions, as well as Paul's comment. Neither had impact. The other one, you put them on the line and Leicester took the space.
Okay, I know the 2 in the air you're talking about, yeah.
Looks at Nigel Carrott, touch judge on the far side. Injury punctuated start to Nick Evans' season. May account for his 69% success rate off the kicking tee thus far, but 100% here today. John Kingston's Harlequins take the early lead. 10 minutes gone, Quins 3 up.
Yeah, good 3 points for Harlequins. Interesting listening to the assistant referee there, just talking to Craig Maxwell Keys and just talking to him about the line-outs, just saying watch Leicester taking the space and also a little bit of contact in the air. So we'll see how that pans out when we see the next couple of line-outs.
Played back in.
Back in, so they can't kick it directly out on the full. Several bounces before it ends up in Burns' hands. Not long before he finds McCaffrey. Kitto, Williams.
Quins on the line.
Yeah, agree. No. It's been touched.
Matt Tamu has gone for the season. By the way, he may well have been with us a couple of weeks ago.
Just step out of the back for me, lads.
So Owen Williams set for an extended run inside centre slot.
It's over the 15.
Orwell again, chosen recipient, a popular recipient in the line-out so far.
Yeah, first 3, haven't they? First one got taken out. But all 3, as Austin said, have gone to Orwell. He's taking real responsibility there.
Dixon clips it away. Wallace amongst the chasers, as was Alofa. Leicester win the fight for the ball on the floor. This is Greg Bateman. Dan Cole holding up England's scrum at Twickenham yesterday. Burns, it's got some height on it.
It's a rock!
And Morris did well. He had a lot of time to think about that, perhaps to fret about it, but he didn't. Keep his eye on the ball. And 1 yard leads the chase. Tate underneath it once again. Plugging holes in midfield as well this season. He's had 5 starts at centre, but often his preferred position of fullback. It's Dan Murphy doing what he can to slow things up. Late replacement for Mark Lambert. And once again, Freddie Burns. Not quite right then.
Just the far side of the halfway.
And back they will come.
1 metre beyond.
It's a problem, isn't it, when you go for the real corner kick and you haven't got the angle. It just takes a slight misbounce and you're in trouble. But another chance now to have a look at Quinn's attacking structure. Freddie Burns there, run pass kick. I think he's got that kick average a lot higher than he has in previous seasons, and that's why he's probably in the 10 shirt before Owen Williams. But if you watch Quinn's now, they're starting to play with this really nice pattern, trying to find the corner. You get 3 forwards carrying, with a decent ball carrier and runner in the backfield. Winston Stanley on this occasion. They don't take the ball, but they're trying to find a corner. That's the corner, an isolated man who's left by himself. You get round the corner there, you're left with 4 on 2. Something that Quins have been trying to set up so far just in this game. Playing with good width from the breakdown as well, which stops the big Leicester pack from making tackles.
First put into the scrum for Quins. They're just getting a little nudge on there.
Use it!
Marchant as well to find Alofa, chip through, and 3 Leicester defenders having to be swift, but none of them swifter than the ball that beats them all out of play.
Tell you what, Quinn seemed to get on the edge there really easily against Leicester. I don't know what was happening with the Leicester defence, but Marchant just came on a lovely little arcing run. And I think if they'd have delayed the pass, they could have caused Leicester a few more problems here. Look, just passes it a bit early for me on the outside.
Well, we saw Bowden Barrett's try yesterday for New Zealand, just attacking the left hand of a scrum very quickly. Makes the tackle for the 9, unless he's exceptionally quick, very tough. So the man outside has to just stay fractionally. That's what happened. Kitto couldn't quite get off the scrum early enough.
Played that back in.
A couple of questions there. Did that go forwards, and did he knock it back into his 22? Neither of them really matter because we're still playing. Burns and Genge.
Use it!
So pretty slow and sticky at the moment. Beetham working hard to beat Morris to this, but it is the fullback who gets there. And this time it's Harlequins holding on to the ball on the floor.
Yeah, Morris initially does well with the take, but you just need to hold your feet a split second longer. Just get that little bit, that leg drive going. Just be a fraction quicker, because the Leicester chase was up on him, and just put that doubt in the mind of the referee and awarded the penalty. Certainly encouraged by the home crowd, but you're always going to get that here. Look at that, just goes to floor a little bit early. Really good work from the Tigers chase. Forces the penalty.
Such a Saracens' riches that they can afford to release the likes of Aaron Morris, junior world champion with England a couple of years ago, runner-up a year ago. He's a player of some talent and wearing a Quinn shirt these days. Oh, there was an all from those behind us in the main stand here, the old Crumbie stand, but in the end the ball corrected itself and did the right thing from the locals' point of view. Spliced the posts, 3 each.
Yeah, I don't think Freddie Burns made the best contact he's ever made on the rugby ball, but most important thing is that it got the 3 points and we're all square.
By Yard. Comfortable, safe Leicester possession. Whip back to Burns, who whips it up towards halfway, and it bounces on the top of the dugouts.
Well, that's 2 really good kicks. The restart from Nick Evans was excellent, because Leicester received man and ball midfield inside their 22, deep inside their 22, which means normally your exit strategy has to go through 2 more phases to make your kick easier. But Burns connected with a sweet one there, taken back to halfway.
And he's chasing after the kick now, picked up by Morris. Dixon, who was knocked off the ball that previous line out.
There it comes.
To re-emerge the ball. So not overly rushing the decision to clear away. And this is Thompson. It's a very, very good signing he's been for the club since he arrived from London Irish. 100 up in a Tigers shirt today. Burns into his 3rd season with the club. Kitto to the fly half. Leicester just beginning to purr a little bit, warm their fingers up, ball in hand. Genge. This is Mike Fitzgerald. A month since we've seen him in the 2nd row, but that's where he is this evening. Beetham, after sharp work by Williams, Beetham does brilliantly to get it away to McCaffrey. Slings it back to Croft. He's tackled by Chisholm. Bateman, oh, how well did he do to get the ball to Slater? Gossamer light hands from the tight head prop, and ultimately it draws a Harlequins penalty. But that was all about the passing ability of a number 3, Greg Bateman.
Unbelievable tip-on from Bateman. Just look at the pressure he was under from the on-rushing defence. As we see the ball going wide with Beetham, just showing a lovely little out the back door, one-handed offload to McCaffrey, just keeps the play alive, but it's wonderful from Bateman. Look at this, this is the one from Beetham.
Nigel, when you get a moment, have a chat with Tigers 10, make sure they're fully 10 back on the line out.
Just to be clear, the penalty was against Charlie Matthews, coming in at the side, just trying to slow the possession down.
the first time midway through the first half. A couple of Freddie Burns penalties, but here's the offload.
Yeah, this is the one we're talking about. Look at that. It's really under huge amounts of pressure, but just almost takes it and gives it on the run, which for a tight head prop, which probably used to being bent down that low, was a wonderful piece of skill.
Chat with Quins head coach Mark Mapletop in a moment or two, but we'll let him watch this latest passage of play unfold.
Use it!
Kitto, plenty of height. Morris with time to come onto it and claim it well. Ward stooping low to pick it up. Open side flanker today. Evans, early penalty had Quins ahead. This is Winston Stanley. Saved the trip to Georgia and Tbilisi this week after he was released by Samoa. Chisholm evades the attempted tackle of Ed Slater to make 10 metres. Marchant. This is Wallace. Not much room to operate in, and he's been shoved into touch. Assistant referee's flag went up, but he's changed his mind. Paul Burton on this near side, so on we go Quins. Evans to Matthews. Most fluent that Harlequins have been, ball in hand. This the most phases. Now comes the kick. And it was Alofa doing what he could to get underneath it. And it needed the sweep-up work of John O'Kitto.
Yeah, Tate's been really solid under the high ball. Thought that one was just a little bit too deep from Evans, but enough pressure. Leicester just want to be a little bit careful here in their own 22.
No. That's off a Leicester boot.
Leicester spill it. Harlequins in a wonderful position, and they've got the penalty.
Not you, you're fine. He's lying the wrong side.
Mark's waiting to talk to us. Let's just wait to see that they will go for the posts here. Can't imagine that they'll make any other decision. And that is the decision. So let's have a chat with Tofty. Austin talking, Mark, about the width that you're playing with at the moment, particularly from the breakdown, really putting a lot of pressure on Leicester's defence.
We've been trying to. We sort of started it last year and really had a good pre-season at it this year, and it took a bit of time. First couple of games was a bit slow in the wet, but last 4 or 5 weeks have been really positive.
And the work on the floor as well, conceding penalties, Leicester, forcing penalties off them. Yeah,
they do. I think historically we've always had a decent record up here, and that's come from keeping hold of the ball and challenging them defensively. Very good, traditionally have been a very good defensive side, maybe not so much this year. And we've talked about making sure we challenge them to force them to give penalties away in situations like this. But the key thing for us was taking the crowd out of the game for the first 20 minutes, and touch wood, so far we've been good.
Well done. Thanks, Mark.
Pleasure.
And we're level. Very evenly contested first quarter. Leicester 6, Harlequins 6.
Yeah, it is very close, isn't it? Particularly at the breakdown, neither side be allowed to play. Breakdown's getting very heavy and piled up. Disagree with Mark Mapletop about them having a good record here, though. They've only won 3 in 19 visits.
Probably thinking good recent record. They've been okay in the last few years, but overall they're behind considerably. I think the important thing for any away team at Welford Road is they just exit their own kickoffs like this, just quite accurately, and don't put themselves under unnecessary pressure.
Harlequins won here in 2013. This is the 199th meeting of rugby powers from the East Midlands and South West London. Leicester have snatched that back, and this is O'Connor. Williams was calling for it. Ball's been lost forward by Alofa.
Straight in, yeah? He's clearly trying to catch that. You've got a line out or scrum option. Tom? Line out.
Again, we talked about getting out of your own 22, and on this occasion Harlequins forced the turnover.
Okay, so, time off, please.
Nearly paid for it. I'm not sure O'Connor really needed to give this pass. Marchant was not beyond the passing lane.
Yeah, Marchant did very well actually, stepping in, blitzed in, almost stopped the attack's momentum. And then you're just left with a 3-on-2, but with everybody moving on the same angle. Almost impossible to pick a pass in that situation.
Interesting little graphic, this. how Harlequins have conceded their tries, and looking at where this scrum is, and looking at that number of tries conceded off first phase possession, this might be a moment of concern for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think what that highlights, if you're a defensive coach, Nick Easton now in charge of Harlequins defences, they've got a lot more work to do off the first phase set piece, because you know, that's a bit lopsided. That it's not often you see sides conceding straight from that first phase. I'm sure they would have worked very, very hard on it, but they've opted for the line out, Leicester.
Taken high by Fitzgerald, who's lost the head tape but kept the ball. Not a great deal Horwell can do about this at the moment. He's got a very good view of his team being marched backwards, but once again Leicester rather profligate with the ball in possession, and they've coughed up a very handy position. Dixon, Matthews.
Yeah. You're not going to get a penalty for pinning him in.
Take once more. Arcing infield, stepping over halfway and finding O'Connor, who picked a nice line on his shoulder. Tate's just hurt himself. Overly seriously, he's back on his feet. Beetham, meantime, busting through a hole. Bateman. Burns to Tate, who's really none the worse for wear.
5, you're off your feet!
Ellis Genge, made of rock. Burns, Thompson was offering himself, hoping maybe for that ball kicked over the top, but it didn't come. Leicester continuing to punch away down the middle. Now the kick comes, and it's a long way off Freddie Burns' best.
Yeah, I think Quins will be very happy with that defensive set. Leicester probing away with Matt Tate, looking quite sharp on the kick return. They got beaten on by Beetham on the inside that once, but that time Charlie Matthews was waiting for the inside pass, and they really dominated the field position for the last couple of minutes.
5 man, and take that step out, please. Thank you.
Horwell again at the back, such has been his work rate so far. You look at him, and so did Leicester's defence, and they weren't far away. As Fitzgerald up high.
Just watch those two, please.
Evans launches long. It's started to rain again at Welford Road. Morris. Early on in his first game for Quins against Exeter. You may well have been with us for that Anglo-Welsh Cup match a fortnight ago.
Thank you.
Evans again. Plenty of kicking at the moment from their own territory.
Back off, Quins, play on!
On they go. Leicester, however, winning that particular rebound session. Laid back by Slater. Burns, neat, and into the arms of Chisholm. This is Winston Stanley.
Use it!
This is Will Collier. And Sinclair rumbling around off the bench against Fiji yesterday, and Carl Dixon looking for the penalty. And he had a word with Craig Maxwell-Keys on the way through. Qualified referee, knows what he's talking about. It's not easy reffing Carl Dixon these days.
Well, either of the Dixon scrum halves, anyone lies on the other side, they often throw the ball into their head looking for the penalty.
Thank you, 3.
Dixon switches it quickly to the blind side and finds Marlon Yard, who's switched wings. Matthews.
Use it!
This was a boxing match at the moment. It'd be lots of blows to the rib cage with the heads and the ears rubbing against each other. Nearly bounced into the arms of Alofa. Dixon, Murphy, Evans, now they're giving it some room. This is Morris. Did very nicely to find Marchant, and it was popped up for Luke Wallace. On the bounce, Evans to Horwell. This is Rob Buchanan, being first choice starting hooker in the Premiership this season, 7 out of 8 now. Here goes Chisholm. Oh, that's nicely done with Evans. Harlequins looking very comfortable ball in hand right now.
Yeah, some really good quality handling in difficult conditions from this Quinn side, up to their 10th phase now.
To the final 10 minutes of the first half an hour gone. A couple of penalties apiece for Evans and Burns thus far.
Use it!
Chisholm. It was this week that he extended his contract, joined the club as a 12-year-old, James Chisholm. More than Saxon these days. And finally, nothing coming off that latest melee, and Quins have the scrum.
It's just stagnant, isn't it, all over the field. Half-backs trying to get forwards into position rather than players actually moving onto the ball and attacking. It's exactly the same for Leicester Tigers earlier on as well. Their back play, it was almost stationary. It was almost stationary. You look at this phase here, they've got 10 players in that area, all stood still, no movement, just prepared to run into a brick wall. That's fine if you're setting it up for the next phase, but when the ball comes out in the next phase, watch what happens. Nobody comes around the corner, no one moves a defender. There's only 3 defenders in front of them. They're all stood still again. In that picture, there's now 8 players. They don't actually end up getting anywhere, and they play into the defence's hands. You have to start moving defenders and moving them quicker. But to do that, you need quicker ball from the breakdown rather than just stood there as a 9 trying to direct an orchestra.
So it's been someone's responsibility back at base in Stratford to package up the best bits of this so far, to include in the Aviva Premiership highlights programme tomorrow, and we'll bring you the best of all of the matches this weekend. And then next Friday, Northampton against Newcastle, BT Sport 1, and another bill next Sunday, Saracens against Gloucester and Harlequins against Bath, both BT Sport 2 HD, 4K UHD. And Tom Croft is heading off for a head injury assessment.
Well, let's hope that's not too serious. He's worked his way back numerous times from injury. But Quinn's got a really nice attacking opportunity here. A good setup with everyone on this right-hand side of the scrum.
Hold your weight, you're pre-engaged.
It's Graham Kitchener who's come on,
Pre-engaged.
maybe temporarily.
Of course, naturally, when you do have a good attacking opportunity, inevitably the free kick goes to the other side.
Morris, chased by Thompson. Back a couple of metres, which means that Quins have to work particularly hard on the floor to regain possession, which they do. McCaffrey escapes the clutches of Horwell. It was a high tackle.
Slipped high.
One or two of those at the Aviva Stadium yesterday that caused a little bit of a conversation, particularly in the first half.
I mean, he just slipped up. Let's have another look at this. He just starts on the ball. I don't think that's a high tackle. I don't think it grabs him at all.
If anything, Bateman's pulling him back to stop him from getting to the tackle.
I just think could have played that one on, really. But naturally, you get a big roar from the home crowd, and it's a decision that goes with the home team.
And a decent kick from Freddie Burns. Lots of carries, not an awful lot of meterage. A couple of metres per carry at the moment, which isn't a great return, Lawrence.
No, you've got to give credit to the Harlequins defence. They've only missed 1 tackle so far out of 34. They've really defended well up to this point in the game, and they've nicked that one, look.
Well, the Leicester lifting was not
set up by
what Tom Youngs would have wanted. The timing was out completely there. This is Horwell. Alofa challenging with Thompson, a whack of bodies. Matthews trying to hand off O'Connor, and in the end the industry of Brendan O'Connor and co. meaning that Leicester have a kick in front of the post to regain the lead.
Yeah, he just had a moment of indecision, Matthews. He's been a really willing carrier for Harlequins in this first half, but as he gets the ball, he's almost caught by surprise. He just holds on to the ball for a split second. As the ball comes back to him, look, he just holds on there, and he's sort of caught a little bit by surprise, and Leicester swarming around him and force the turnover. Relatively easy shot for Freddie Burns.
There are injury problems at the moment, Harlequins, particularly in the second row. Toomey, Merrick, no Reddish today, new signing. Got Stan South set for his Premiership debut on the bench. Been a mixed bag kicking-wise out of hand so far for Freddie Burns, but not off the little rubber kicking tee. Perfect. Leicester back ahead, 9-6.
There's not much between the two sides. You'd have to say Leicester probably be the happier given their head on the scoreboard, especially on the balance of play, because Quins have had their moments. A couple of careless penalties giving Leicester the opportunity to get ahead.
No, don't go on it. Don't go on it. Off it, off it.
Rain that's becoming increasingly heavy. Ed Slater, who was hoisted high to gather in the restart.
You're not on the ball, you're off your feet.
Will Collier.
You're never on the ball when it's
since
failed.
he last missed the Premiership game, Collier. Best run of his career. Is one of those durable props at the most difficult of positions to get a run of games going.
That's a frustrating one for the coaches. You've just given away 3 points.
That's you, yep.
You kick off and then you give away another penalty. You find yourself right back on your own 10-metre line. Referee was trying to give Will Collier all the opportunity there, talking to him. What can Leicester do just before half-time? Not a lot.
Final 5 minutes. And there is room for improvement at the line out for both sides. This is Morris. Orwell. Evans. A Yard was offering himself nicely, but the door was shut by Slater. And it's Nick Evans who's really hurt himself. He's in a lot of pain at the moment.
I don't think he's hurt himself, Nick. I think Genge has hurt him.
This is Matthews, meantime. We'll have a look at that.
No, 7!
Once we finish with this latest phase of play. Ward.
They're going to have to do without Nick Evans as he's receiving treatment at the moment.
Yard. His first receiver. Evans is back on his feet. And again, holding on to the ball on the floor.
Well, he's not happy. Let's have another look at this. Is it late?
No, it's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing
Took the ball to the line, used his arms in the tackle. You're going to get tackled there, but in the ribs by someone who's probably almost twice your weight is going to hurt.
Yeah, Leicester made up really for losing their own line-out. The line-out just gone off radar for a little while. They want to plug it back in for this one. It's an opportunity just before half-time to really turn the screw. Nice hit by Genge, then a turnover.
That's you, yep.
It's also a chance, you don't have to be a mathematician to work out that in the 22, opposition 22, Leicester lineouts have driven 97% of the mix, so you're pretty sure what's coming.
Kitchener. He's still on for Tom Croft. And they go down the blind side with O'Connor.
Just as Austin was saying that, they've had such a lot of success from driving line-out. They'd set that up really nicely for the drive and then chose to peel it round the front. It's just getting a little bit fractious between the two sets of players.
Carl Dixon got 100 herograms at the end of that.
Honours even on the penalties as O'Connor breaks out, and it's Dixon being brave, getting in, get his head right over the top there and forcing the turnover. Getting a pat from his teammates, and it's Quins who are able to clear the lines.
A couple of weeks ago he was commentating alongside us, Lawrence. He's expending a little bit more energy today.
Busy, isn't he? He's playing, he's refereeing, he's commentating, he's got his hands full.
Makes the tea, washes the kit, doing everything for Quins.
Once again, Harlequins lineup, so you know who's gathered it in. Just Leicester know, or they think they know where it's going at the moment. There's not much they can do about it. This is Collier.
Just got to be careful here. They've got.
Slater's done well to get himself onto that ball, and he's locked onto it, and he's done brilliantly.
Yeah, that's bad from Quins, really, because you know that 4 has got his arms in. Ed Slater does brilliantly. Nothing wrong then in transferring the ball into the ball carrier at the back there. Just needs to hold on to it and put it at the back. Collier there, just put it in your other arm, then he can't get near it. Just make it so easy for Slater just to come on through.
It looked to me like the definition of swimming in a ruck there, Nick.
He did a bit of crowd surfing, didn't he?
He was lying on the top. I'm not sure his bind was the same all the way through there. I suggested that may well have been swimming through the middle of the ruck or on top of it.
Yeah, that was Harlequins' 6th turnover. And that's the end of the first 40 minutes, which I think, if we're being absolutely frank, will not live an awful long time in the memory. No tries, not really a semblance of one, if we're being absolutely honest. The 5 penalties split between Burns and Evans, and at half-time at Welford Road, Leicester lead Harlequins by 9 points to 6. Tom Croft has failed his head injury assessment, so not the end to his 100th Premiership start for the club, not the way he wanted to return to the Premiership for the first time this season. So Graham Kitchener is on with us now permanently. Mike Williams, by the way, is making good progress from the arm that he broke in the warm-up with Matt Tamua a few months ago. He's not far away, so Leicester's options will certainly improve when he's back. Did Nick Evans just clobber the referee there with a kick? How to win friends and influence people. Craig Maxwell-Keys, by the way, was the referee when Harlequins beat Saracens back at the Stoop in September. So he's all right for them as a lucky omen. Let's see what this second 40 brings us. Leicester leading by just those 3 points. All of the points penalties in that.
He stopped.
The first 40 that left room for improvement. Freddie Burns did what he could. He kicked his 3 kicks, and this is McCaffrey. Brady herring after this. Now, Rob Vickerman down on the touchline has been sweeping up interviews from half-time. What's the news, Rob?
Well, Leicester really identifying the fact that it's quite static play at times, so they got to make sure their big men are running hard onto the ball, win that ascendancy at the breakdown. They also recognise how well the Harlequins back row's going, so bit of respect there. Expect to see a few more tactical kicks, and seemingly all about discipline for the Quins, making sure that they are ruthless at their decision making to make sure they can maintain this lead.
Ruthless is an interesting word. It's not a word that you'd necessarily connect with much of what we saw in the first half, but we may see more of it in the second period, Lob.
Yeah, we certainly need some quality control and getting a bit higher. Plenty of endeavour, plenty of ambition, but not the accuracy you necessarily need as that one goes up again in the air. I just feel as the conditions deteriorate, we might see even more kicking from both sides.
Burns does just that. It's a low skimmer. Which side of the flag will it go? It goes the right side.
Well, we don't mind seeing kicking when it's of that quality. A really, really nice low kick, and it's now Leicester who can put pressure on the Quins set piece.
Really was masterful at the Rec a couple of weeks ago, executing kicks just like that, Austin.
Yeah, he was. He loves the angle kick, normally out of hand, toe over toe. That one he's absolutely drilled down into Coffin corner. I'm not sure what Chisholm was trying to do. It looked like he was trying to head it.
It's always a good game to do in your spare time if you're bored heading a rugby ball. Give it a go.
I'm not quite sure where it's going to end up, that's the problem. Again, it's Horwell. Leicester have turned this over, have they?
Yeah, they have, and McCaffrey and O'Connor, and a roar of anticipation. As Wallace is barrelled out of the way, stood his ground for as long as he could. But Welford Road finding its voice for almost the first time in the match. Been too many moments in the game so far where they have been doing their business this close to the threshold. O'Connor. Oh, he's still broken through. He's managed to slip his way through somehow. A little ferret. And Charlie Matthews was offside. And Leicester
Let it come.
pressing as hard as they've pressed all match. O'Connor again, who very nearly slid through, but it's not his hands that try to drive the ball through. He's lost a metre or two there. Burns is waiting, pointing the way. Kitchener gives it to Burns. This is Slater.
Couldn't get the pass away, Slater, could he there? As Quins come in and kill the ball.
20 metres
Go
out.
back for the penalty. Did really well with their body positions close to the line there. Harlequins stopped the pick and go over the line. Probably take the 3 points now.
Oh no, no, Burns!
Just wonder if the referee is going to allow that. Is he ready for it?
5 metres out, that makes all the difference. On the line.
No, he isn't.
No.
He's saying it didn't take it from the spot, took it from in front of where it was. He took it on the 3 or 4 metre line, so no try.
On the 5, for me, you're a metre short.
Well, all the Quins fans will be at home and on Twitter will think I'm biased in saying this, but I think that's pretty close to where the ref is for a mark.
But he's saying
You've got to be within, what, 2 or 3 centimetres of him?
Well, he said a metre. You were a metre away, and because he was just 5 metres away from the try line, you've got to have some kind of accuracy with that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's the correct decision. Quins fans, rest assured.
If he was 20 metres out, then I think we might give him some leeway, but that close to the try line.
I'm aware for future.
Didn't see anything wrong with it myself.
Cue Twitter meltdown.
Open the other aisles.
Well, Burns does get points in the end, 3 of them. And Leicester now have a 6-point lead. Leicester 12, Harlequins 6, 45 minutes played in the rain on a Sunday evening.
Well, it's the furthest any team's been away from each other in this match so far. 6-point difference. Bright start from Leicester. What can Quins come back with? That's another super clearance.
He does strike the ball so well, doesn't he? It's wonderful to watch.
Really, really good. If I was Quins, I'd be saying, any chance we can put him under a bit more pressure than that, because if we give him all the time in the world, he's going to keep punishing with wonderful kicks like that.
5 man.
Let's work to keep this gap.
Quins going to this 5-man line out quite a bit in the game. So much going through that man, Hallwell.
Here's the last into the line out. Once again, he's first choice. Carl Dixon, scrum half today. Evans testing Kitto, but in the end, Tate came in with the broom.
Use it!
It's a good chase from Evans. He put that little kick in. Tate fielded it, but he made sure he made the tackle.
Aaron Morris, Premiership debut, the former Saracen.
On your knees, crawling forward.
He penalised Aaron Morris there for not regaining his feet, but I don't think he was tackled, so I think that's quite a harsh penalty to give away. You can understand if he'd been tackled. There's no one who's got a hand on him.
Does like a good carry. He's had a dozen of them so far. First game in the Aviva Premiership. Never got a league opportunity during his time with Saracens.
Well, look at this. The tackler misses him there. No one's really tackled him. I think that's a really tough decision.
I think the ruck's formed, isn't it? McCaffrey's over the top, got his hands.
We'll find that.
We've gone beyond him. But anyway, it's a line out to Leicester. Can they build this pressure? Will they go to the drive this time? It's been so effective for them this season.
Slater wins the ball. O'Connor by Williams. Kitchener drives on. Placement in the first half for Tom Croft, who took a bang to the head. Slater, who has been as industrious as ever, and O'Connor once more slipping through, and again it's O'Connor pressurising Harlequins' line, and Genge takes the hit but ricochets away, and Leicester once more asking questions.
Ward has momentarily slowed that down. It doesn't look like he's done it legally. Referee's got his arm out.
Tony Matthews, as Harlequins continue to work extra hard in defence. This is Tom Youngs, the captain. Every Leicester player to the right of this breakdown at the moment. Drop goal from Burns. The simplest of 3 points. It's going to be an afternoon of centimetres, of metres, of taking what you can get, and Freddie Burns just has. Leicester 15-6.
Well, it's a sensible option. 3 points were probably coming from the penalty advantage that was being played, but Freddie Burns decides to accelerate that with this neat little drop goal in front of the post. No problem with that whatsoever. And Harlequins got a bit of head scratching to do. They've given away a couple of soft ones and allowed Leicester 6 points early on in this second half.
Dean Murphy's first Premiership game for Harlequins comes to an end. Owen Evans, Welshman who's been brought into the Premiership squad for the second time this season, is on. He's included amongst the replacements when Mark Lambert withdrew a little earlier, if you weren't with us from the start. Mark Lambert and his wife Kitsy having their first baby boy yesterday. Congratulations to them. Morris has looked secure under the high ball today.
Really good, really strong, solid. Quins on the attack now.
Joe Marchant, 20-year-old. George Lowe, by the way, still struggling with a hip problem. Seen very little of George Lowe in recent times. 7 off his feet was Brendan O'Connor.
It gives Quins the first real respite they've had in this second half, just to put the ball as far as they can into the corner. You feel the next response has to come from them. Zayertsa's just getting himself ready to come on in that Tigers front row. Look at that second half possession. They had all the possession in the first half, 62%, but my word, Leicester have turned it around.
Ellis Genge gives way. Rogovi'i Molapola started Samoa's defeat against Georgia and Tbilisi yesterday, but Marcus Zayertsa no longer needed by Argentina. They're going for homegrown players, so the Puma who became a Tiger 10 years ago is on with us. Horwell. This is a lot for a loffer. We're getting amongst the tries in his first season as a Harlequin. Chisholm. Dixon. Quickly away to the new prop Owen Evans. To Chisholm. Slightly chunkier brother of Ross. Evans. Morris was offering himself. Instead it's Yard being hunted down by McCaffrey. And Youngs driving through. Once more. Morris. Forward.
Tackle! And off feet!
Ed Slater has to give it up. Evans does so well to stretch out in front of him, and Marchant keeping the ball alive for Yard.
That's tackle! Thank you.
Ward running in with some purpose, not making much distance.
Thank you, lads.
And in the end, not the accuracy.
Yeah, just not able to have that gain line success. Are they Harlequins? They're retaining possession but not really going anywhere. Marlon Yard looks like he might have twisted his knee. I just saw that in that tackle when he took the ball forward, just got twisted as he tried to place the ball back. Chisholm's been their real bright spark, offering himself time and time again.
Yeah, you'll be there.
All that play started from a line out, exactly where they are now, and I think they went through, well, at least double-figure phases. The continuity is a lot better, but they just couldn't win that gain line. Couldn't break any tackles.
Taken in by Graham Kitchener. Took his 100th Premiership game with that extraordinary win at Kingsholm at the start of the season. He's played in every one since then. It's hard chasing from Thompson and put a lot of pressure on Chisholm. Oh my goodness. I know you often say, Austin, on days like today, when it's wet, it is the chasing of wingers like that that can often prove the difference.
Yeah, it's really good to see. What you don't want to see is your winger come up at half pace, wait for the rest of the defensive line to get there, because anything can happen. Get out the blocks as fast as you possibly can, get in the eye line, and you never know, you might just get the turnover. But your percentage chances are a lot greater if you put in maximum effort than if you jog up and hold your defensive line. Yeah, you might get beaten by someone sidestepping you, but at least you've made them make a decision.
Yeah, Chisholm just needed to release the ball and then pick it up again. Just gets penalised as
some more space for the AR.
Some treatment for...
I'll keep the arm up.
Is that Will Collier?
It's Collier there, yeah. Just
4 years now since Harlequins were Premiership champions, since they beat Leicester to their first ever title at Twickenham, that historic win, intervening seasons 3rd, 4th, 8th and 7th. So I know John Kingston's been keen to make the point that it's been a couple of years since they've been battling in and around the playoffs, but certainly that's the plan this season, and that new management team, the new coaching team beginning to bed in now.
Whereas if they're going to be battling around the playoffs, they've got to be winning games like this one when they've got their England players away, because that's what's cost them really in the last few years, is just falling away during the international window. But it's Tom Youngs and Leicester now who will be trying to drive home their advantage.
The winners of this one will curl up on the sofa on Sunday evening in the top 4. Leicester having lost their place maybe temporarily to Exeter.
Well, there's a lovely piece of skill here. Freddie Burns, they had the penalty advantage, they knew that, so it's a kick to nothing. But it turned out to be a kick very much into the arms of Owen Williams. That was a pre-call. Charlie Matthews it was that come in, it's just off the boot there. He's shaped his body the other way and kicked it perfectly into the running line of Owen Williams, who really has to just fall over the line and dot the ball down. And Leicester, as poor as they were in the first half, have been absolutely ruthless in this second half. 2 penalties to soften them up, and now a try, first try of the game on the board.
17 points now to Freddie Burns, 22 to Leicester, 6 to Harlequins.
Yeah, really well executed try, and no sweeper in place. Dixon there in behind. But as the play normally evolves, you sweep behind your back line, but he steps forward because there's no guard defender, and that just takes him 5 yards away from where he normally would have been for the try. Well executed, well finished.
So a round of applause from the 2 coaches. They're pleased. I'm sure they weren't pleased with a huge amount in that first 40 minutes, but they'll be delighted with the way their team have come out in this first 15 minutes.
That was a hearty Dickensian round of applause. It was as if the lunch had just been delivered from Richard Cockrell. Absolutely thrilled. A couple of Leicester changes that you'll have seen on the screen. Scrum half and hooker. Tom Youngs and John O'Kitto have been replaced by Harry Thacker and Sam Harrison. Ed Slater is the new Leicester captain, and Quinn's just beginning to show a few more loose edges.
Well, they've fortunately fallen apart in the second half, just mistakes. And look at that, the context of this game now, having been 9-6 at half-time, 22-6, just changes the entire game. Quins have really got to force the play now. They've got to run from deep. They've got to have a go at trying to bridge this gap. Tom Youngs looks on pretty pleased with his work.
Replaced by Harry Thacker in the middle of this front row, who thoroughly enjoyed charging around again like a good one in the Anglo-Welsh Cup over the last couple of weeks. New scrum half as well in Sam Harrison.
if I'm honest, Nick, the fixture really is probably a little bit more important for Leicester in terms of the games they've got coming up.
This is Beetham. And Leicester have Saracens, Wasps and Exeter in a bunch over Christmas and the New Year. Bristol next Friday, so it's a short turnaround. So the point they feel that this match is won, and it's a long way from that point right now, but Richard Cochrane might be looking to rest a few players with a Friday evening trip to Ashton Gate, but a long way from that moment for the time being, or at least Harlequins will hope we are. Kitchener. Oh, it's Slater who's played really well again today. Thacker was on hand, Slater's going on his own. And he finished 5 metres short, but Burns might close that gap. This is Thompson. Beast of a man, driving for the line. Leicester hunting a try that might end this debate, and Freddie Burns.
Yeah, he's knocked it on. Might have taken a clattering in doing so, but all of a sudden, when you get that daylight on the scoreboard, 22 points to 6, there's that little bit of extra confidence, isn't there? Kitchener onto Slater, ball perfectly positioned in 2 hands, wanted to get the offload away, and then as the ball goes wide, Thompson shows great strength close to the line, taking it within inches, and then you come back from that short side that Thompson's just left. It was definitely the right option, but Burns just couldn't hold on to the pass. But all of a sudden, confidence coming into that Leicester attacking play.
I think you've got to give Sam Harrison a lot of credit as well. The tempo's really upped around the breakdown. He's in, the ball's away, he's moving, he's stopping the defensive line from coming forward. He really has made a big impact to the force of Leicester's attack. If you have a look at this also, it's Horwell's just too far away from it, Slater. He realises it, but Slater runs such a clever line back towards the wall and then back out that even if Horwell had a chance to close the gap, he wouldn't have quite got there in time.
His feet will be up, elbow up as well.
Confirmation of the changes.
We haven't got a ball.
Joe Marchant giving up for Charlie Walker, and Tim Sweel is on for Nick Evans as we approach the hour mark. First time that Tim Sweel has ever been to Welford Road, let alone played here. He was looking forward to this moment, or he was hoping before the match to have come on without quite such a deficit to overcome. But Tim Sweel has a chance to show us his qualities again.
Yeah, big mountain now for this Harlequin side to climb. They've not been that successful on the road, only won 1 of the last 10 Premiership matches on the road, and pegged down in the corner. That free kick will help them a little bit though.
Not one away from home in the Premiership this season. Sale, Exeter and Wasps all beat them. And this is Sweel's first job, to try and find some distance from a difficult angle and being pressed by Harry Thacker. Charging down the stairs like a kid at Christmas, chasing that ball. Not quite enough, however. This is Tate.
Great turnover from Harlequins there, reached in, got over it before the referee shouted ruck.
Orwell.
Holding on.
For the penalty.
We're not talking at penalties.
Slater just trying to make his point there. He felt the ruck was already formed when the arm came in over the top. I don't think it came in at the side. Definitely came in after the ruck had formed, but the referee just happy to play. But that's a mistake from Quins.
Just wait. Thank you.
Morris. Yard. Alofa 20 metres to his right. Wisely held on to possession. Leicester now making a nuisance of themselves illegally, as it turned out.
First
Brendan
defence,
O'Connor.
all clear. I'm not rewarding players on their feet. The tackle is the wrong side.
Yeah, Yard was trying to play the ball, but there was a Leicester player just not rolling away. As much as the crowd were baying for a penalty the other way, referee's been quite consistent. That's another missed touch though, and that's poor from Quins.
Onside. Hold. Thank you. Let him run.
Harrison.